welcome back to the On the Ball podcast. This is episode, I've forgotten how many episodes we've done, but anyway. So today we're going to be doing a Euro group stage review, and we're also going to take a little look at the knockout stages. I'm here in Tasmania right now, so first podcast recorded overseas, I guess you can say, since we've crossed the Bass Strait. But so we're just going to go group by group. Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, Group E, then Group F. Just going to discuss each group, and then we will be looking at the knockout matchups in round of 16 and maybe doing a few predictions there. So overall, our predictions went pretty well, I think, for the group stage. I did this predictor game, and I was roughly in, I think I came in the top 100K, I think, out of 1.5 million, which I was pretty happy with. I had a very good start. Came home strong. Match day 2 was pretty poor, but I think that was pretty unpredictable. All right, looking at Group A, Italy went 3 from 3, which I think we might have predicted. I think we might have predicted them to get 7 points. Wales and Switzerland picked up the 4, and Turkey picked up 0. So I think Wales did pretty well here. I think everyone was probably underestimating them coming into it, but if you just looked at their previous 10 games, they actually won, I think, 24 points out of it. So we probably should have seen it coming, but no one really did, just since they don't have the most star-studded team. Switzerland, just the kind of side that will always perform solidly at these sorts of tournaments, and no one will really expect it. So they've made another round of 16 for, I think, their 5th tournament in a row. And then Turkey, they are definitely the most disappointing team in the competition. They picked up 0 points. I saw someone even predict them to win the championship. I wasn't that confident. I thought they would definitely get out of the group though, but they were just so slow. They lacked X factor. They just looked really bad. The defense was really leaky, which we thought was going to be their strong point. And yeah, overall really disappointing, considering how many informed, high-quality players they had. Back to the drawing board for Turkey, I guess. But yeah, here Italy looked very, very strong. Obviously, all their games were at home, huge advantage, but they look like they could be a contender for the whole thing. And Wales and Switzerland, well done to them. Jammed out a few dodgy results, but they got the job done, and they both, well, Switzerland not necessarily, but Wales have given themselves a chance to go on a bit of a run here because they've got a fairly easy fixture in the round of 16. So yeah, well done to Italy. And Wales and Switzerland, disappointing from Turkey. Group B, obviously we were expecting Belgium to dominate, and they dominated heavily, winning 9 points here. And then we were expecting that. They haven't really hit even though they've been scoring goals, I wouldn't say they've completely hit their stripes. Like KDB's been coming off the bench and stuff like that. So they're going to be a dangerous team in the knockout stages, but one that's kind of hard to predict. So interested to see how they go. Following them, we had Denmark, Finland, and Russia all tied on 3 points, all picking up wins against one another. I do believe Denmark rightfully went through, though. I think if it wasn't for the Eriksson whole incident and tragedy, I think they would have pretty comfortably cruised through this group, but I think that affected them big time. So I'm glad they got there because they deserved it. And Finland, pretty unlucky. They were pretty impressive, especially early on. Maybe fell away a little bit, but a couple of their players had real breakout tournaments. In Russia, we weren't really expecting much from them. They have fallen a fair bit since their World Cup round of 16 appearance, I think it was. So yeah, well done to Belgium, and Denmark also make it through there. Finland just missed out as a third place team. The Group C, we had the Netherlands tear it up. I do think a lot of this was due to being at home, but it will be interesting to see how they go in the knockout stages. I think we were concerned about them given their lack of form and their failures since the new coach had come in, but fair play to them. They had a very, very good 3 games, scoring a lot of goals, creating a lot of chances. Depay's been killing it. Denzel Dumfries, bit of a breakout player in the tournament, although he's 25. And then Austria, so I was kind of surprised by Austria. They picked up 6 points, and their loss came to the Netherlands, but they almost lost to North Macedonia. So in that first match day when they almost lost to North Macedonia, I was like, oh, they're going to be lucky to get out of the group, and they've ended up getting out comfortably. Ukraine, pretty disappointing, you'd have to say. They did sneak through to the round of 16, but I thought they were going to be a lot stronger and maybe challenge the Netherlands to win the group. And then North Macedonia had a real crack. They actually had a pretty good team on paper, but at the end of the day, I think they were just happy to be there and didn't really expect to contend in this group. So yeah, and then Group D, obviously not everyone's favourite team, but the team that gets the most attention. England picked up 7 points, did the job to get out of it. Croatia came second on 4 points. Czech Republic, surprisingly, were pretty good, even though we shouldn't be surprised by teams like Czech Republic and Switzerland because they just seem to be solid all the time. They picked up 4 points, and then Scotland picked up the 1 point. Now, I'm wearing a Scottish jersey, and I do go for Scotland, but I have to say, I think Scotland were a bit hard done by. I think that game against Czech Republic, the expected goals was like 1.7 to 0.8. I think that game deserved a draw. And then, yeah, like Croatia were the better team in that match day 3, but yeah, I don't think they were much far off Croatia and Czech Republic. So I think pretty good first appearance for Scotland in a major tournament in 25 years or so. So I think they should be happy with themselves. And yeah, hopefully, I don't think they're going to qualify for the World Cup, but turn their attentions to the next Euros because I think they've got a good crop of players there. Group E was an unpredictable one for pretty solid teams, but no absolute title contenders and no absolute duds. So Sweden finished on top with 7 points, which was a bit of a shock. They didn't really impress me in any of the games I watched, though, to be honest. Then Spain came second in finishing in 5th. They created so many chances, just couldn't score many goals except for Slovakia, where they put up 5. Slovakia picked up 3 points and Poland picked up 1. Next to Turkey, I think Poland's probably the second biggest disappointment. I feel bad for Lewandowski. Obviously, this is probably, I don't think they'll qualify for the World Cup, so this might be his last major tournament, or at least when he's in his prime. So yeah, I feel bad for them that they haven't really achieved much as a nation in the last 6 or 8 years, but because they had a pretty good crop of players. But yeah, can't do much about that. Slovakia, pretty good effort to get 3 points, I reckon. They did quite well. And I don't know, they didn't make it through to the round of 16, but still pretty good effort. And then Group F, the group of death, no one dominated, which was probably to be expected. It was pretty unpredictable every week. France picked up 5 points going through on top. Germany came second with 4, Portugal third with 4, and Hungary with 2. Huge round of applause. Got to go to Hungary. Their home games were so exciting. The fans were awesome, and the players on the pitch did really, really well. Challenged in every game they were in. And to be honest, I think if they were in any other group, all 5 of the other groups, I reckon they would have gone through. So, yeah, pretty unlucky, but I think they're a team for the future. And I think the next Euros, they could be a bit of a smoky to cause some damage because then, like, imagine if they host the next Euros, that could be pretty spicy. But yeah, good signs for Hungarian football. But the 3 big dogs got through. None of them, I think Germany probably were the most impressive in terms of what we expected. Portugal maybe a little bit underwhelming in some games. France probably exactly what we expected. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these 3, because you don't want to peak too early in an international tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how they lead up into the knockout stages. So that moves us into our knockout previews. I'm just going to go through the 8 games, maybe give a score prediction and justify why. So first up, this isn't in order of what days they're being played. It's in order of the bracket. So up the top, we have Belgium v Portugal, which is pretty much game of the round for me. Absolute blockbuster clash. Portugal haven't looked great, to be honest. I think they really lack a strong midfielder who just dominates a game. I think in 2016 they got away with it because Renato Sanchez had a really, really good tournament, but Danilo Pereira and William Carvalho, they played together in a couple games, and for me, they just didn't do enough. So there wasn't really a connection between the defence and the forward line, and they were just getting bossed around by Germany. Obviously, they have a very good midfield, but yeah, that was, I think, what's holding Portugal back right now because their attack is good enough, the defence is good enough, but it's just in the middle of the park, they're struggling. Belgium, they've got a couple of players who haven't fully hit their straps yet in terms of fitness and stuff like that. I have a little bit more faith in Belgium than Portugal, even though Portugal do have a track record of success. So I'm actually going to be tipping Belgium here. I don't know. I was talking about it to my mate yesterday, and I think out of the remaining teams, I think France and Belgium are the ones I trust the most, just to rock up on the day. Whereas like Portugal, Spain, Germany, even Italy. I don't necessarily trust that they will be on their A game every single match. So yeah, I'm going to back in Belgium. I think Portugal will be too good to be held scoreless, so I'm going to go 2-1. And hopefully it's a good game because two very, very good teams. Next up, Italy, Austria. No brainer. You've got to back in Italy here. They're one of the most impressive teams in the group stage. Even in the third match day when they basically played their second 11, they still tore it up. So, yeah, they look like a really harmonious squad. Everyone's clicking well. They're one of the only teams that they actually play like a club team, like they have chemistry and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to say Italy win 2-0 there, maybe even 3-0. I think pretty convincing win over Austria, if I'm honest. That moves us into France v Switzerland. You got to back France here. Switzerland are a very solid unit, but I think France are just next level. Too many world-class players, so I'll be going France 2-0 in that one. I don't think I have to justify that too heavily. Croatia versus Spain. Croatia are good, but definitely past their prime, as we have seen in this group stage. So even though Spain is seriously lacking a top striker, I think they're going to create enough chances to score a goal, and I'm going to say Spain 1-0 over Croatia. And then that gets us into the bottom half of the draw. I have to say, this draw is absolutely ridiculous. A lot of luck comes into these international tournaments, and if you've copped a position in the bottom half of the draw, you're seriously lucky this year. Sweden, Ukraine. This is a tough one because Sweden, in terms of points, are a lot more impressive in the group stages. But if you look at the teams on paper, I back the Ukraine team a lot more. So it's a tough one, but Ukraine's only victory has come over North Macedonia. So I think this one could go to penalties, or jokes aside, or at least extra time, because I think they're just going to be two very, very solid teams. I'm actually going to back in Ukraine, though. I know Sweden have the form line, but I think Ukraine have more talented players to break a game open. So I'm going to say Ukraine win 2-1, maybe the winner in extra time. And then the only game in the knockout stages, unless England make the semis, with a home team, and that is England against Germany in the round of 16. This is tough because if it's in a neutral venue, I'm tipping Germany because I think they've looked really good so far. But the fact that it's in England does tilt the scales a little bit towards England, but I'm still backing Germany. I just think their form's too good. I think their overlapping wing-back system is very, very dangerous. And if you don't have wingers that are willing to put in a defensive shift, which I think England do compared to the likes of Portugal and France, they're going to cause havoc. But I think their midfielders will just be too good. Rice and Phillips have been good, but I think Kroos and Gundogan is next level, and then Kimmich can control the game also out to the right. So, yeah, I'm actually going to back Germany in. I think it'll be low scoring like all the England games so far, so I'll just go 1-0 to Germany. And that will be the day the world ends because everyone will lose the shit. Gareth Southgate will probably get sacked, even though it's the hardest job in the world. But I think England fans just need to stay patient because their time will come. Then next game, Netherlands, Czech Republic. Got to go to the Netherlands here. I think the Netherlands will benefit a lot by the home crowd in the group stage, but similar to the France-Switzerland combo, I think Czech Republic don't have enough weapons to challenge Netherlands. Their defence looked a bit leaky at times, so I might say 2-1 to the Netherlands, but their attack looks like it's creating too many opportunities right now. And then the worst game of the round, Sweden, Ukraine could be actually, but Wales, Denmark, neither teams looked impressive in my opinion. I think I'm actually going to back Wales, even though Denmark have a lot better team. I think Wales have looked better than Denmark in my opinion, so I'm going to say Wales 1-0 win over Denmark. So yeah, that's my predictions. Pretty quickly dusted through this episode, but I'll be interested to see how my predictions go. I will be doing probably a reaction to the round of 16, and then I might do a preview of the rest of the tournament. And then, I don't think I'll do one before the semis, before the final, etc. But yeah, so hopefully the round of 16 is good. Usually the round of 16 and quarterfinals are the most enjoyable parts of an international tournament because you get a few really good games, and there's a lot of them, where the semis and final, you're sort of waiting a week for one game, but hopefully it's entertaining stuff, and yeah, looking forward to it.